Welcome back yet again to all the returning viewers. To the new viewers, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you do, hit that big old subscribe button and right next to that the bell for notifications for new reviews that do come out. But on to the show. Today we're looking at the Razer Kraken V3 Hypersense. So do not get confused, because there's the V3, then there's the Hypersense, and then there's the Pro. So today we're focusing on the Hypersense, and the Hypersense is something that's all about immersion through sound. So we're going to touch on all of those elements. Now, this has been designed around PC gaming as well as a PlayStation, so do take that into account as we go through the review. So we're going to be touching on all the elements from the design, the features, the software, the specifications, as well as the overall performance. But as is normal, let's look at this unit a little bit closer.
Up all night by myself, trying to think of ways to you. Your voice stuck in my brain, we never got to see it through. And I know I feel more pain if we're speaking truth. Cause when the daylight comes, I still lose. So will I feel it again? I just don't know. And I'm hoping I'll find a way to let go.
Design-wise, even though I got to use the V2 a lot less than I got to use a V3 or a version of the V3, this feels a lot more solid, a lot more robust than the V2 did, with a lot more metal elements, which is already a major plus looking at the V3. Now, when it comes to headsets, I always say that sound is secondary to comfort. Comfort does have to place first, because when wearing a headset for an extended period of time, you do need to make sure that it's not going to give you cup pressure or actually hurt you, which a lot of headsets do. So the first thing that I'll tell you about this headset is it's super comfy. Razer spared no expense on making sure that it was soft from the band on the top and the bottom. I don't know why the top, but the ear cups are made from memory foam. There's a lot of breathable materials, and for someone like me who sweats generally quite a bit, I didn't find that it was too constraining or too claustrophobic when wearing the headset. As mentioned before, the top of the headset does have a breathable material. Now, we do sweat from the top of our heads, so having that breathy material is really great. And also, as mentioned on the top, there's also a leatherette. So on the top band, as well as the sides of the cups, is a nice leatherette, which means that you do get the benefit of the longevity, but you also get the comfort of the memory foam as well as the fabric. Now, the band is extremely stretchy. I don't like to do the stretch test, because I'm sure that Razer sitting on the other side looking at me going wee like that is probably going ooh, but it really is stretchy. And the fact that it's metal all the way from the band to the mounting mechanisms on the headset is a really good indicator for me, as well as the indication marks that you'll see on the side of the headset. It's really good, because a lot of reviewers have said that, but sometimes you'll put your headset down and it'll kink in like one notch or two notch. But if you remember, I set mine at 8, therefore every time you get the headset, you'll just push it out and make sure that it was at the preset that you had it before. Now, moving on to the pressure relief holes, I did find that they were either smaller or not as effective as the V2 or other headsets, and that when you do put on the headset, it is immediately creating almost a vacuum for your ears, which if you're going to do this the whole time, it is going to hurt or do some, it's not going to do damage to your ears, but it's going to be uncomfortable. But what this actually does is it gives you passive isolation or passive noise cancellation, which is an advertising feature of the headset. So even though we do have a little bit of relief, we do have the isolation, which is great. As is normal with any Razer product, we do have RGB, which is customizable in Synapse, as well as the fact that you can customize it even further in the Studio or Chroma Studio, which you can put special effects that do match up with all of your other presets. Now, even though this is more specification than it is design, it is USB. So the first thing that I'll note is the USB cable is 2 meters, which is perfect for PC. However, I'm not generally using a PlayStation that often, but if you only have 2 meters, means that you do need to be closer to the console, whereas I know for a fact that console users do, as a majority, prefer to have 3.5s to plug in. So not really going to advocate its use for PlayStation, especially with a 2 meter long cable. Overall, really solid and sleek design with minimal plastic bits that are going to break off or cause any irritation. So well done to Razer on a nice, sleek and comfortable design. Onto performance, and in performance we are going to be mixing up the features in the software because they actually worked hand in hand to affect what the output of the headset was. And the first thing that I'll say is that when I installed the USB into the laptop, I immediately had spatial sound or virtual 7.1 sound without even installing the drivers. And this was effective so much so that when I had installed THX, I didn't notice any difference. So this is more of a compliment to the software in Windows than it is a disrespect to THX, but honestly didn't notice a difference in THX versus Windows Spatial. Now onto software. On presets you can choose between movie, music and game. Now the reason that I'm saying this again in performance is that changing those changes the way that the drivers enact or the different frequencies that they send out. So what I suggest is that you find a perfect balance between all of those and save those under a custom preset so that you don't have to change those all the time. But the fact that it has a large EQ band is really great so that you can adjust it to get that perfect sound output. The Synapse program also offers a lot of other options. As you can see in front of you, you can change the bass boost, sound normalization, voice clarity, you can change the lighting, the mic, you can change a lot of elements within inside the program itself. So what's really nice about this and what Razer's really trying to do is to create a solution or a full solution where you don't have to have multiple layers of programs that changes different elements on your audio output and your audio input. So it's really nice that Razer is trying to create this comprehensive solution. Now we're going to move on to something called haptics. So the haptics is all about game immersion and making sure that you feel the game as you play it. Now the haptics can be quite intense, and let me show you a little video that explains what I mean.
Track 6, Woofer Excursion Test. This track will test the woofer's ability to reproduce sub-bass frequencies without reaching the limits of its voice coil or suspension.
Now, the haptics were a little bit delayed in music. In gaming, not so much. There was very minimal, call it millisecond delay between the haptics and the game. But in music, I did feel that the bass came through a little bit later than it should have. However, haptic bass intensity does get very, very intense. So I honestly didn't enjoy the haptics at high. I thought it was really cool because it was something really cool to play around with. But do make sure that when you are playing around with the haptics, that if you do want to play around with it at first and experience how incredible it can be and how much it can literally vibrate your face, so much so that you can't actually see everything in front of you, like it distorts, but make sure that you adjust it to something that is actually playable and usable. One thing that I do need to point out is that there was slight popping and slight crackling regardless of the volume. So it wasn't that it was snapping and crackling at high volumes, it was even at low volumes. So this could be a result of cable, or it could be a result of software, or it could be a result of the actual physical drivers. So I do think it was just maybe something a little bit defective on the cable, because when reviewing other Razer products I've never noticed this before, but I do have to note it as this is a review. For those who are looking for proper or clear audio clarity, I did find that the mid to high frequencies were a little bit muddy and didn't give that pure clarity. However, one needs to note that this is a gaming headset. This is not a 20,000 Rand Bose headset. This is a good pair of gaming headphones. Lastly, on performance, I did find that the microphone was slightly nasally on default, so you are going to have to adjust it to find the clarity that you want. On to conclusion, and I am taking a little bit of a guess here, but what I think Razer's done is they've introduced this headset as what is called a fighter SKU in the industry. That is something that is a good price, but also offers a lot of benefits. I honestly enjoyed everything on this headset, from the build quality to the haptics. Yes, I do feel that the sound clarity could have been better, the microphone could have been better at standard, but when you look at the price, this comes in at $2,399, and I will put the dollar price, I do believe it's $120. So for $120 or $2,399, you are getting a headset that has so many benefits and so many features that you can use, you can change, and you can adapt to your preference. Guys, there will be, or I hope there's going to be a lot of questions on this headset, especially with regards to the haptics, because it is something that is so cool and so fresh and such a great idea that has come out from Razer Razer. Do think it needs a little bit of refinement, especially on the latency issue that I experienced at least, but otherwise really good job by Razer and a really good headset, especially with regards to the build quality, which is something that I'm stressing a lot more on headsets nowadays. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers and goodbye.
If we're speaking truth, cause when the daylight comes I still lose. So when I feel it again, I just don't